I have been spending my days Googling and YouTubing videos of people who are amazing at photography and lighting and videography. We have recently upgraded our camera. It's not arrived yet, but we just purchased it yesterday. I am so excited to get newer equipment so that I can learn how to do this stuff on a higher scale. But in the meantime, I wanted to use the camera that I have. I watched a video from a gal named Sorelle Amore. She talks about taking advanced selfies. Basically, instead of taking selfies like this, setting up your camera, doing a remote shutter, and taking photos of yourself in a really artistic and beautiful way. And she mentioned in that video that there is an app on your phone that you can remote shutter. So instead of having somebody else take the photo of you, you can pose yourself in really cool ways and take it from your own phone with your DSLR camera. And I was like, wait a minute. There's no way this is on my camera. Turns out there is. I've had this camera for literally years. I never knew that you could do that with it. So I tested out the feature the other day. It's so easy to use, and so I thought it could be an interesting video if I sat down, did my makeup the way that I have a vision, I'll talk to you about that in a second, and show you guys the process of doing my makeup and taking the photo from start to finish, including editing. One of the biggest questions I've been asked is how I edit my photos. Now, I am no professional. I do not know what I am doing. I am merely watching other people do it, screwing around with the programs myself, and just kind of figuring out how they work. I edit my photos currently in Photoshop. However, I have noticed that every single photographer that I have seen edits in Lightroom. So I recently added it to my repertoire of learning how to do things, and I'm trying to figure out how to use Lightroom. I am not good at it. I am brand new. Doesn't matter. That's how you get better. I could go take courses, or I could use the vastness of the internet to learn how to do things, which is how I've learned everything that I've ever known on YouTube. I learned how to do makeup from watching YouTube videos. I learned how to do video editing from watching YouTube videos. Same with photo editing, same with anything settings-wise in these cameras. So I figured I'll just continue on that same path when it comes to learning how to use Lightroom. But today I'm going to put on a face of makeup, and then we're gonna go take some photos. Hopefully I can figure out how to do this. If it doesn't turn out that great, I'm sorry. So I'm just gonna start. I have the idea that I wanna do a photo where I have my makeup like flawlessly done with like a really bold red lip. You guys have seen these photos all over the place. We're not talking about something that's never been done before, but I've always wanted to do one myself, and that is the wrapped towel on your head in the bathroom with a robe on. I believe the gal that I was just speaking of has one of these as well that she's taken, and it's really artsy and cool. I want mine to be different because I'm gonna have like a full face of like makeup, lashes and everything like that. And I want to have a really bold red lip in my bathroom. I've got the Fenty Stunna lip paint. I think this is what I'm going to use because the color of that is just c'est magnifique. When I glom onto something, I glom on hard, and that's been me with photography this week. My husband was talking about wanting to get his own camera because we only have this one camera that we've got here, and then we've got a vlogging camera as well. That one doesn't take like super cinematic shots, and that's kind of what we're going for, is increasing the quality of the videos as much as we can. And when I'm filming, he can't use my camera, and so that stops him when something excites him and he wants to like film something awesome for our other channel, which I will link up here if you guys have not seen it yet. It is a channel where we do everything, but mostly gardening right now. We're really into gardening and stuff like that, and we're trying to like figure out how to homestead, and we're hoping to buy land in the next couple of years and build like a cabin on it and live out our homesteading dreams. So that's a lot what our channel's about right now, is learning how to do all of that stuff, because if you've never done it, you don't know how to do it. We end up not filming as often as we want to. So we bought a new camera, and I'm really excited to try it out and see how things go. It's my first ever full frame camera. I've only ever had these crop censored cameras before. I'm filming on Canon 80D right now, and we ended up going with the Sony A7 III. We didn't get the R3. We've watched a ton of reviews, and the A7 III seems to fit what we need it for most, so that's what we ended up getting, with a couple of different lenses and stuff. And so I'm really excited to start taking more photographs. Since it is something that I love, I just want to work on it a little more. The reason that we haven't is because I'm so cheap, so unbelievably cheap, that I could never pull the trigger when it came to actually purchasing a new camera. I thought, I have a perfectly good one. Why would I get another one? But the camera that I do have does work great, and I'm going to continue learning how to use it as well, because it takes great photos and I like it for video. It's never let me down, other than the sheer amount of orangeness that I am. This is the ColourPop No Filter Concealer. That was the Pure 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie foundation and concealer in one. I use the shade MN5. Like, it's not the best match for me. I could definitely go a little bit lighter. That's all right. You know, that's the cool thing about the internet. I love the fact that you don't have to. I mean, obviously college and going to classes for things that are advanced beyond just learning things on the internet is always a good thing. For me though, I'm not really I think everyone learns in different ways, and I'm not really a class learner. I didn't do that great in school. I was all right. I got all right grades, but I struggled with classroom learning, and I don't know why that is. I just feel like I definitely learn more by trial and error, hands-on, and by being allowed to just like try it out. And that's the best way that I learn. This is the Hourglass Arch Micro Brow Sculpting Pencil in the shade Soft Brunette. Sorry this isn't zoomed in more. This is the closest lens that I have. I definitely need to invest in another lens for this camera as well. But again, cheap ass bitch. I'm one of those people where I'm like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Even if it could be like so much better. I let things run out until the bittersweet end. I did a video the other day, which you guys may have seen. If you haven't, I will link it up here. It was the video where I was trying out your first impressions that Instagram chose for me, and I did that like kind of Twiggy-esque makeup look, and I posted it to Instagram, and the response was so good, and it was a different photography style for me. This was when I first started like watching photography videos and talking about lighting and stuff like that. You know, sometimes it's like common sense what I'm learning. What I'm learning is it's all about angles and lighting, and your camera settings are so confusing. That's the thing, is that again, I have a hard time with, I even went out and did like a course with a photographer, and he took me out and he was trying to explain like f-stop and aperture, which are the same thing, but why do they have two names? Exposure and shutter speed, which are the same thing. And then ISO, and explaining why you move them up and down and what they mean and how XYZ, all these different things. And at the end of it, I was like, I still don't know what any of those things mean, or why you put one up and down. Why do you do it? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm starting to learn now kind of what it means, but at the same token, it's like I can say, okay, aperture is how much light is let into the camera. The lower the aperture number, like 1.8, is a really blurry background. And then the higher the aperture number, like 8, is less blurry background, and that's better for like landscape photography. But then if you're doing like portraiture, it's really good to go low. I can say those words and I can repeat the information, but it's like one of those things where I don't know why they do that. I just know that it is. And then that's where I'm struggling, is like, why does aperture make the background blurry? Like, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where like I can repeat the information and be like, yeah, aperture makes the background blurry, it lets in more light. But then I don't know why. And so I feel like I don't know the information that I'm like pretending to know. And that's so much of like photography and video editing and learning Photoshop and all that kind of stuff, is I feel like I am just scratching the surface of knowing that I can manipulate the light when I press this button. I know that this thing makes it a blurrier background, but I don't know why it does. And that's what I don't like. I like to know the ins and outs. And so if somebody were to ask me, hey Chrissy, like, why should I get this lens? I can say like, oh, because this one has this, and that's why this does this. And when it lets more light in, the reason it goes blurry is because it's focusing on your subject and everything else. Like, then I'm like, feel like I get it. But right now, I just feel like I don't really get it. And obviously, because I'm doing like online little things, I don't feel like professional in any way, even though I've been doing it for a long time and I know certain things. Like, I taught myself Photoshop completely. So when you guys see me use it later to edit the photo, you guys might be like, oh my God, you're using it completely wrong. And that's probably the case, but that's because I don't know the right way. So all I can do is show you how I do it, and hopefully it's not so wrong that it like screws people up. It's intimidating though. Like, they're very big programs and they have a lot of inner workings. And if you guys can recommend like a really good course or anything that you think I could take that's not like super beginner, because I'm not super beginner. I definitely know more than like somebody who's never touched the programs before. I'm doing things the harder way for myself in many ways. Like, I'm not doing them the most efficient way. I'm just kind of like messing my way through it. You know what I mean? So if you guys can recommend any like online courses or anything for photography or Photoshop or Lightroom, please let me know. I would love to give them a go. That was the Fenty Shady Biz and the Too Faced Milk Chocolate Soleil bronzer. Now I'm gonna use the Anastasia Beverly Hills and Omrizi highlighter, just gently. I don't wanna put too much highlighter on. When my friend Elsa came and stayed with me, we were talking about video settings and stuff like that. And she was like, oh, do you film in 24 frames per second? And I was like, no, why would I? She was like, oh, because it gives it that cinematic look. And I'm like, right there, that's what I'm talking about. This is how little I know and how long I've been doing this. I've been filming YouTube videos for what, 7 years? I'm gonna do a winged liner. I feel like I wanna have sassy wing. This is the Tartist Double Take eyeliner, and this is a good one because it's double-sided, so one side is a liquid liner like a felt tip, and then the other side is a water liner. That is the most satisfying moment to me in makeup. I can never do it to my left eye though. It always messes up on my left eye. Has that ever happened in the history of eyeliner? I don't think so. I feel so subdued today. I don't know why. Some days I'm like on it and I feel funny, and I don't feel funny today. That's why I need a little bit of makeup. I'm not in a bad mood at all. I'm having a good day. I just feel so out of it today. You ever have those days where it just feels like one of the ones where you're not meant to do anything? That's today. But I can't not do anything. Well, I got it. These are the Cocoa Lashes in the style Risque. Sometimes you'll see me not use these for like a few months at a time, and then you'll see me use them and I immediately am like, why did I ever stop? That's where I'm at right now. Why did I ever stop? These are such beautiful lashes. Sometimes they can be too intense, but for photos, they aren't. They look awesome. I said this the other day on Twitter. Don't hate me. I am ready for fall. I can't believe it. I'm just ready. You ever get that, some days you're like, are you kidding? I even said this the other day. I was like, I'm not ready yet, dude. We need more summer. I said that on here. I said it on YouTube. I was like, we need more summer. I just need at least another month. Ooh, something happened and I'm ready. I don't know what it was. I don't know what shifted in me, but I feel just like, oh, I'm prepared. I am ready for crispy leaves. I'm ready for layers. I'm ready to not be sweating like I am right now. It's not even hot today in Washington. Really, it's not, but it's just hot enough to make me have boob sweat. The way that it starts to change outside, the way that it's like beautiful still outside, but it's cold. So you can wear tons of layers and it's fine. I need sweaters in my life right now, okay? This whole wearing shorts thing every day, it ain't me. The more clothes, the better. These are lashes. That's like my one gripe with these, and it's not even really a gripe, but it's that you can put them on backwards and it's hard to tell because they're like symmetrical, but one side is just a tad bit longer, and so it's really hard to tell sometimes. So a lot of times I accidentally put them on the wrong way. It doesn't really matter. Not very many people can tell, but you can kind of feel it. When my friends came over the other day and stayed with us for a few days, we played a game together that was called Don't Starve Together. Have you guys ever heard of it? It was such a fun game. I didn't know if I was gonna like it at first because the graphics are so unique and interesting, but to explain it in a very, very brief way, it's like a game where it's like an above view, I think, kind of like above back, and you are all together and you're in this little land where you kind of start off with nothing and you have to create like a home base type of situation because it becomes day and night and it goes through the seasons. It's an open world concept and you have to like build a fire and like get your food, and you have to make sure to eat often so that you don't starve, and if you don't eat enough then you start like seeing things, and then like these shadow people start coming to get you, and it sounds scary but it's not. It's actually so fun, and you are just basically trying to survive. Oh my gosh, it was the funnest game, and you like work together as a team, and it's just such a unique game, and it's very like hand-drawn looking, and I just had the funnest time playing it. I am not really much of a video game player at all. I always feel like there could be something else I'm doing, so I don't like ever sit down and play video games, but it was a blast. I had so much fun playing. If you guys have never done it, I would recommend it. It was so fun. Okay, we are nearing the end. Easy makeup application today. I really like it. I think it looks really pretty so far. It looks exactly like what I had hoped it would, and I'm just gonna make sure my lashes are really on good, and then I'm gonna throw a coat of mascara on. This is the On the Rise mascara from NYX. Oh my god, do you guys want to see what's sitting in front of me? If you follow the other channel, you'll see. We grew these. There are 3 of them. We grew these. cucumbers. Just saying. I'm basically Mother Earth. I'm so stoked about this. Look at that. Look how beautiful they are. And they smell so good. These were a seed. I planted this from a seed. Think about that. I feel like this is my child and I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna eat my child. It's time for lips. So I use a lip liner. This is the ColourPop Lippy Pencil and this is in the shade Overtime. And I'm really gonna round out my lips. Not perfect, but it doesn't have to be. This is the Fenty Stunna Lip Paint in the shade Uncensored. Help me. Look at that shade. I like the look of the matte, but I think I want just like a hint of shine. And so I'm gonna take a little bit of this Lunar Beauty gloss just on my finger, and I'm gonna tap off the majority of the excess so that it almost looks like I just put on, instead of it being like a matte liquid lip, that it looks like a satiny finish. Okay, that's the makeup done. Let's go take the picture. This is my bathroom. Well, part of it. I don't know exactly the composition of the shot. I feel like it's gotta be something, I don't know. Definitely want some like moodier lighting for this. I'm gonna figure out the lighting and the camera setup. Put the tripod up higher because I'm trying to think of my own angles. Things about my face that I don't particularly love. Well, my chin, all right. Right back there is really blown out. You can see everything coming through. So I'm gonna have to mess with my settings and make it kind of moody. I'm gonna show you guys this Canon Camera Connect. In the camera, if you go into the menu settings, you can actually connect your phone. You can actually see what the camera sees through your phone. So I'm gonna do that real quick, that I can actually see what you guys are seeing, but on my phone here with just a little bit of a delay. So another cool thing is you can change the settings right from here. So right now, you can see that my shutter speed is at 1/50. I can up it to darken it, I can make it brighter, whatever I need to do. I can change the settings right here in my camera from my phone. And I can take photos this exact same way. I just pressed it and it turned off the camera, pressed it and it turned it back on. That is gonna be my shutter button when I go to take my photos. So I'm gonna set myself up and show you guys what I'm looking at. I don't want this in the background. I also don't feel like the lighting will be as good because I'll be backlit. So I'm gonna move my camera around. I think we might be going with something like this. I know we're sideways. I'm gonna figure out the composition. I'm gonna figure out exactly what to do, what I want to be doing in the photo, how I want this whole thing to look. But I like the idea of maybe zooming out a little bit so you get a little bit of an idea of where I am. I'm gonna take some photos and see what we can do. Okay, so I don't know how that went. We'll see when I get this into editing. If it's good, if it sucks, we're gonna find out. I changed the lighting a few times. I'm just using the bathroom lighting. I'm not going crazy with it. I don't have any external lighting or anything like that. So now I'm gonna go toss this into the editing program and we'll see what we can do with it. So I first start by opening Lightroom on my computer. And like I said before, I'm super brand new to this program, but I'm currently practicing so that I can just learn and get better. But I start by importing the photos into Lightroom, into the library tab. And then after I import them, you can scroll through the photos and hit either P or X on them. P will pick the photo showing that, hey, that's one that I actually like. And then X will be a photo that you're rejecting. And then when you scroll back through, then you can easily see which photos actually made the cut. Once I've chosen the final photo, I open up the Develop tab and then I start the editing process. So I have downloaded some presets from Sorelle Amore because I just really like the moody editing style, and Lightroom presets are awesome because not only are they a great way to start at photo editing, but they get you the look that you want, which you can tweak and kind of make your own style if you want to, but also you're supporting the artist whose style you really like at the same time. So another thing to mention is that I have my camera set to take photos in RAW, and this leaves the most room for editing. RAW is a file format that captures all of the image data that's recorded by the sensor when you take a photo. And that's what Google says about it. It says when shooting in a format like a JPEG image, information is compressed and lost. So I ended up landing on the preset Cold Brew from her pack, and before doing that, I decided I want to make some edits in Photoshop quickly. I just wanted to add this really cool filter that I have in there that I really like before I edited in Lightroom. So I took the image over there to Photoshop and added a filter called Fleetwood Matte. I just love the way that that lifts the blacks and gives you that kind of vintage vibe, but you really don't need this filter if you don't have it and you don't want to buy it. You can just lift the blacks up in the tone curve tool. But for me, I like this. I just like the way that it looks. It fits what I need it for best. This one's an action in Photoshop, and I just add it to the image and then reduce the opacity down. So it's just a gentle matte filter over the top of it. Then I took the photo back into Lightroom and then added the Cold Brew preset. But to me, it just made the photo look too blue. So I took the temperature and I bumped it up a bit so it didn't have such a bluish hue. And then I adjusted some of the other settings as well, like the exposure, contrast, clarity, until I really liked the final look of the image. It's all dependent on what you personally like the photo to look like. I had a vision of sort of like a vintage, somewhat cooler tone photo, something that I liked last year with editing. Now I don't like the look of, so you're gonna kind of change things as you go along. Like you may look at photos you edited before and be like, oh my God, I hate the way that looks. And that's just the way you change as you go. I then also took and skewed the image a bit on the vertical to make the top of the photo come forward a bit. I don't know, I just think it helped with the look that I was going for. In Lightroom, if you want to toggle back and forth between the original photo and the edits that you've made, you just press the / key. And then after adjusting things around the way I like them to look in Lightroom, I took the photo back into Photoshop. I know, again, I'm all over the place, but this is just the way that I've been editing since I've been learning Lightroom. Normally I used to do everything in Photoshop, but now that I'm trying to figure it out and use it and use presets and stuff, it's changed a bit and I'm still trying to figure out my workflow. Right now it's like jumbled as hell. But I took it back into Photoshop and then I duplicate the image and make my final edits on that duplicate. And so you can see me using the clone stamp tool with a super low opacity, and I'm changing some of the harsh lighting that happened when I took the photo, like on my under eye, on my nose, and on my chin. What this tool does is it like replicates an area that you choose next to it so that you can like stamp it over an area. Like I had a couple of blemishes on my forehead. There's the way this light was hitting my nose was really bizarre. So you can see I just kind of stamped that light out. I just make little minor tweaks and then I show you, like I toggle back and forth between them so you guys can see the difference sort of. And you can see that that's the original and then that is with the edits made. And it makes a difference, those little tweaks that I made with the lighting on my face. And that's the final image. I just wanted it to be kind of dark and moody and have that like matte vintagey look to it. And I think I like it. Hopefully this video was any helpful. I would say my video is probably not going to be that helpful as far as learning Lightroom or Photoshop because again, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of, I don't know, I'm just kind of doing what I know works, but it's probably not the easiest or best ways to do things. So I would watch a lot of tutorials if you can. There are a lot of really helpful Lightroom and Photoshop tutorials on YouTube, which is what I've done. Same with everything. So that's kind of the process that I've used. All right, and thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys liked this video and I hope that it was somewhat interesting. If you guys like these style of videos where I take you through the whole getting ready process, through what I have an idea of, the lighting, the photography, and the editing process. Let me know if you guys like these little creative process videos. I'm more than happy to continue doing them if you guys like them. Hopefully this was somewhat interesting for you guys to watch, and hopefully it was somewhat helpful. I will have everything that I talked about, used, anything like that in the description of this video, so if you guys are interested, click down there. And I thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe if you have not yet, and I will see you at my next video.